Hey, how's it going? Nat here. Let's see what's making news. All around the world, there's something lurking on city streets. Something dark, something sinister, something small and hairy.
Rats! These dirty little rodents are expanding their empire and taking over the world! Or at least that's what a recent study makes it feel like.
Researchers recently looked at 16 different cities and found that over the past decade, rat populations have been sharply on the rise in 11 of them. And they say that's only set to continue.
Now, counting every single rat is considered almost impossible, so researchers instead analysed public complaints and infestation reports in places like Amsterdam.
There's a very smart one who comes and crawls into the planter now and sits in front of the door. He comes into the house now and then.
And in Washington D.C, which has apparently copped a 390% rat rise.
Which is pretty bad news, because rats cause billions of dollars in damage every year and spread lots of diseases.
So where the heck are these rats coming from?
Well, researchers reckon rising temperatures from climate change could be giving them more time to find food and breed.
Wintertime is getting less cold, which means that the rats can reproduce more easy, and there are more rats usually means more complaints.
And while some cities have managed to get on top of this ratpocalypse, it's important to stay on the lookout.
Russia and the US have agreed to start working towards ending the fighting in Ukraine. Representatives from the two countries met for 4.5 hours in Saudi Arabia to talk about how to end the war, which has now been going on for almost 3 years. But Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says Ukraine and some other countries should be invited to the talks too, and that he won't accept any outcome the US and Russia come up with if they can't take part. A Victorian woman is taking Uber to court after some drivers refused to pick her up when they found out she was travelling with a guide dog. Here's Justina to explain.
Alrighty, if we're going to head off, I might book an Uber, I think.
For Paula and her guide dog Kristen, being able to hop in a taxi or Uber to get from place to place is pretty important.
I had the odd taxi refusal early on, but nothing like this.
Paula is blind and uses a guide dog to get around confidently and safely. But over the past few years, she says lots of Uber drivers have been refusing to pick her up because they don't want to take her guide dog, and that lots of other guide dog users have had the same experience.
There were times where I missed appointments or decided not to go, just based on the probability that there might be a refusal.
So Paula's decided to take Uber to court, alleging some drivers have broken disability discrimination laws. See, according to law, all assistant dogs are guaranteed access to all public places in Australia, something Uber's made pretty clear in their service animal policy.
They make handsome profits out of this system. They owe it to the community to make sure that system doesn't discriminate.
Uber says they can't comment on the case, but it's an issue they take seriously and train their drivers on, while Paula hopes things change quickly for her and Kristen.
The reason I'm doing this is because I want to see systemic change, because there are things that can be done.
Now it's time for some stories that need to be built from the ground up. Not that, unfortunately. That's just a graphic. Yep, not real. First up to a huge sinkhole in England, which opened up suddenly, swallowing the road and growing at least 20 metres big. Sinkholes are caused by water under the ground, washing away dirt, rock and other stuff, leaving a big cavity behind. Folks in nearby buildings have been evacuated for now, and authorities have asked people to avoid the area. Now to the world's largest collection of bricks. 87-year-old great-grandpa Clem has spent the last 40 years of his life collecting bricks from all over the world.
This is interesting.
Some are thought to be thousands of years old, like this Roman one from 100 AD. And with 8,882 of them in his collection, that's a new world record. And finally, you might want to hide your bricks, Clem, lest they get turned into a wall by this robot. Meet Concert, a prototype machine helping construction workers get the job done. The team behind it at the Italian Institute of Technology say Concert can carry heavy items and has an arm for painting, drilling, sanding, whatever you need it to do, really. Wonder if we could build that. That's all we've got time for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.